it'd be nice if there could be a bit of wider motorsport support and interest for the BRC.
Lancia were back for the first time since about 1988-89.
I think there's an awful lot to be unpicked about the current state of British rallying. Robert Verves for the 2027 World Rally Championship. Did you heard it here first?
Welcome back to the Motorsport Files, and we are here today to discuss this weekend's BRC event at the Grampian Rally up in Aberdeenshire, which was also the candidate event for the WRC, due to take place next year, hopefully. I think it's October. Have you heard that right?
Sometime in the autumn, I think. Yeah, it's not confirmed specifically, but
we're not quite going to as specific as October. It's a difficult time for the BRC. We know that. Quite a few crews, very expensive, and there are quite a lot of issues happening in British rallying at the moment that's causing a few conflicts and a few uneasy feelings, shall we put it, between the crews and Motorsport UK, which we won't get into in this episode, but hopefully another. So the Grampian happened this weekend, second Scottish BRC event on the bounce, and basically where the Scottish Rally Championship has been tied up as well this weekend, thanks to Gary Pearson and Hannah McKillop, who have taken that title. What did you make of the BRC? Have you managed to follow much of it?
It's, as you rightly say, it's hard to follow it at the moment, just because there's obviously no live coverage. You know, the BRC promised a little bit of YouTube coverage this weekend, but they obviously had some technical difficulties with, you know, obviously the remote rural location in the forest means that even with something like Starlink, it's hard to get going. So there was a few stage end interviews, but yeah, hard to follow. But, you know, nice to see the eyes of the rally world on Britain for once this weekend, with a few of the WRC crews there. So, you know, made it good to, as rally fans, to make an effort to follow it, but it's just quite hard with no live coverage.
Yeah, it's not been made too easy for us, has it? But I want to make it clear that it isn't a criticism to Matt and Bex. They do an amazing job in what are really quite tough conditions. It's usually sort of horizontal wind and rain. So that's by no way a criticism of what they do. They're amazing. But yeah, it's tricky to keep track of what's going on. I mean, to be fair, even outside of the YouTube coverage, there doesn't seem to be regular updates either. Other than obviously the results on rallies.info, there aren't any, you know, bulletins happening regularly enough. So it is tricky. We've only got about 5 crews in the BRC, not many, which is sad to see considering its heyday and how it used to be. It was nice to see the WRC crews come back in and have a look to see what's on offer for next year. Should we go through them just to tick that off?
Yeah, definitely.
So we've got last year's ERC champion, Jon Armstrong, who came and basically blew everybody away. Pretty much, setting most fastest times, or at least trading them with Romet, who also knows the stages very well, having been here and contested in the BRC before. Lancia were back for the first time. I think this was the right date. I think it's since about 1988-89 as an official team. Who else did we have?
Yeah, Johan Russell and Nikolay Gryazin, obviously with Lancia, and then Brandon Semenuk, the multi-time American Rally Association champion.
I very nearly missed him, actually. So it was nice to see him coming to have a look to see what's on offer. I'm assuming, I don't know how you feel about this, but I'm assuming that having done a WRC round already this year, he's potentially eyeing up a program for next year.
Yeah, you'd guess. I mean, same with all the crews that came in to the Grampian, you've got to assume it's to do with scouting for Rally Scotland next year. Yeah. You know, it would be good to see him do some WRC rounds next year, especially with the event over in America coming as well.
I hope so. It'd be nice to see a few more, actually, because there are some really fairly big names in America.
Definitely. I think we will as well. There's some big names taking part in the ARA this year. You've got Leah Block and Seth Quintero in particular, both of whom I think have got WRC futures ahead of them.
I hope so. I mean, it was nice to see Leah give Formula One a go, and I think she enjoyed it from what I can tell. But But she's a rally girl at heart, so it'd be great to see her perform on British stages as well.
And she's a bloody good rally driver. So
she's quick.
Let's not beat around the bush. She is fast, and she will win stages in WRC events when she gets here. But she's just doing it the right way. She's got back to rallying and going through the ARA, getting used to Rally2.
Yeah,
I think very sensibly.
Yeah, I'm quite excited to see her out on the stages, actually, because as you rightly said, she is bloody quick. As a lot of them are, actually. It's all too easy to perhaps overlook them. But no, there's some very, very quick drivers over there. Aoife Raftery has done quite a bit with the Dirtfish Women in Motorsport program over there. And she's had nothing but good things to say, not just about the rallies themselves, but about the rallying culture over there as well. So it's good news. It's definitely good news. Bringing it back to the British Rally Championship, though, we have our usual protagonists involved. Osian Pryce obviously has returned to the British Rally Championship this year, and we've had him on the show earlier on, which was great to have him on. We had him and Marion Evans on to discuss their season. Obviously setting the pace for most of the year, despite not really knowing that Toyota that well, he says.
Yeah, he's looked very good. I mean, obviously he took the BRC win at the Grampian at the weekend, and has looked very good all year, as you'd expect. I mean, he's a good driver. It's just, and you know, those two as teammates this year as well. It's just Max McRae in the mix as well, really. The three crews there, you know, are the ones setting the pace in the BRC this year quite consistently.
Yeah, and Max having typical McRae luck again.
Well, at least he drives like a McRae. He doesn't leave anything to be left on the stages, does he?
No, you can see it in the blood, can't you? But yeah, as a consequence, suffered quite a lot of punctures throughout the event, and it didn't look that rough or rocky. You know, it's not sort of killer Kielder. It looked relatively smooth from what we could see.
No, and there wasn't that much in the way of damage to the other top crews. So perhaps just something for Max to, you know, Max is still very much learning at this stage in his career. Shows a lot of potential and genuine raw speed. The win was there for the taking this weekend, and you know, gets punctures, whether it's luck or judgment. No, we obviously haven't seen it. That goes back to the coverage. But all you know with Max, as long as he does learn and moves in the right direction, there's a good driver there.
He's a very good driver, actually. Obviously coming from great stock, but was it luck or was it just trying too hard? Because Gary Pearson also came back with a tyre hanging off the wheel as well at the end of 3, I think it was, if memory serves. Although poor Gary's not got the best of luck either, to be fair. He quite often has various issues happen to him throughout the course of the championship. But they did come through. They did finish the event, and they have won the Scottish Rally Championship. So I hear.
And just on Max, just worth saying that Max was the only driver who was not a Ford World Rally Championship driver to actually win a stage outright. Yes. So a lot of credit there, because as you rightly said earlier on, Jon Armstrong took 7 stage wins, Romet Jürgenson took 2, and then Max McRae took 1. So that tells you what pace he's got.
Oh yeah. Absolute outright win, beating the WRC crews. That just shows you, doesn't it? There's absolutely no reason to expect that he's not going to just continue and progress.
Absolutely. And then also this weekend, worth talking about the fact that we had Elfyn Evans, current championship leader in the WRC in Scotland, not actually taking part in the event as a competitor. He was the course car, but some interesting comments from Elfyn about his thoughts on WRC2 cars.
And his ability to drive them, actually. Every single interview that I saw was him just laughing at himself, I think was probably the best way to put that. Yeah, it was hilarious. And it was nice to see. It was nice to see him actually smile and laugh about it, for, you know, because he's not got that pressure on. He's not trying to win the rally. He's there just to gather data. Unlike on a WRC round where it's constant stress. So it was nice to see that side of him, must admit. But yeah, complaining about the lack of power compared to what he's used to be able to sort of pull himself out of big slides and such. I mean, I get it, I do. But it's the same for everybody. It will be the same for everybody. They will get used to it very, very quickly. And before you know it, they'll just be back on the pace. I mean, I saw only today, actually, on social, somebody saying that they weren't looking forward to losing that kind of power. I think it was it was a fan. It wasn't a driver. But it's happened before. We had it with Group B when we went to Group A. Yes, it looked a bit silly for a little while, but very, very quickly, those Group A cars were back on it and we never looked back. So I'm not at all worried. It's what a lot of the fans said they wanted a few years ago, especially when the FIA put that survey out. I don't know if you did that. I know I did, for what good it did. I think it'd be fine.
Well, I thought it was interesting, actually, that it raises an interesting point about next year. I noticed at the end of the rally, on the stage end interviews, just as Jon Armstrong was celebrating his win, Johan Russell, obviously one of the best drivers outside of Rally 1, obviously not having the best of years, but he was there, as we said, this weekend with Lancia. And he went up to Jon, and I don't know if you saw this, but he says, "We'll see you next year." So it's a good, interesting point about how next year we're going to have some of those top drivers and crews outside of Rally 1 able to challenge for rally wins, especially if those drivers like Elfyn, who are used to the more higher powered cars, might take them a little bit of time to actually take a step back. So it's actually, I came away with slightly more optimistic about the level of competition we might have next year.
I hope so. I really, really hope so. I still don't think we've had an official announcement on it yet. I think that's still to come. I'm hoping that current Rally 2s, apart from the kit that's obviously been homologated now, I'm hoping that they'll get more power to bring them up to the level of or close at least to the WRC 27 regs. I know they're not going to be completely parallel, because that would mean there's no point in the WRC 27 regs, because you could have either and Rally 2 would be cheaper. So we are expecting Toyota to basically walk away with it, potentially Project Rally 1, depending on how good they are. We don't know. Obviously, Toyota have got the more experience. But at least if those Rally 2 crews can come up in level, to be close enough to have that fight, like you say, yeah. I mean, there's not that many really with current Rally 2 experience.
No, I mean, you're looking at Jon Armstrong, obviously having just come out of the ERC.
Yeah.
Martin Sesks has got some recent ERC experience.
Yeah.
And obviously Sami Piari and Oliver Solberg have come up in the not distant past. But that's about it. The more established crews, the ones that have been there for longer, are probably the ones that might find it slightly trickier.
Potentially, yeah, which could really turn the championship on its head completely. We might have an absolute shocker from them next year, and we might have a surprise driver come through and take it, which would be awesome, actually.
Robert Verves for the 2027 World Rally Championship. Did he heard it here first?
Yeah. Oh God, can you imagine that battle between him and Suninen? Oh yes.
Oh. And also, we might get Oit Tanak back next year as well. So that could we could have all sorts. Maybe he's not, but there's just sort of try not to get too excited.
The only reason I gave that reaction is it's almost kind of what you said actually in the Finland show. I saw something recently. I wasn't really paying full attention to it, but I think he might be going more towards his own team.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So is it? I don't know. It's just a gut feeling. Maybe he's looking at probably not 27, maybe 28, but I don't know. I get a feeling he might bring his own team.
Well, his Red Grey team are already running who I think is the best prospect in world rallying in Jasper Vaha. So, there's, he could, maybe he wants to stay mentoring the next Oit Tanak rather than come back. Although I think he'll come back at some point, but, well, at least there's things to look forward to.
Yeah, no, that would be cool if he, brought a 2-car team with himself and Jasper. Oh, now I'm getting excited. This could be good. Yeah, I mean, it's we could do with this kind of interest in the British Rally Championship as well, really. It was lovely to see some top flight cars and crews on the event. from what we did see. And next year will be great, but so far as this year's concerned, it's a bit flat, isn't it?
It is. And it's sort of sad because you sort of feel that after the bit of interest that we had this week, obviously this was just because of the fact that it's going to be the venue for Rally Scotland next year. You know, we're going back to the rest of the BRC and it's going to fall a bit flat because there's no coverage. And without even a highlights package coming online any time after the event, it's just hard for it to stay relevant. And as you alluded to earlier, there's wider problems with Forestry England and Motorsport UK and entry fees and all sorts of things, which we won't go into. But it's, the BRC needs a bit of support and it needs a bit of love. And, if we can do that, that's great. But hopefully for 2027, there'll be a few more top line crews because you say it's pretty threadbare at the top.
It is. I mean, there are some crews in Rally2 machinery. Sam Toozle, for instance, is a classic British driver, loving the experience, always got a smile on his face. And he's still actually pretty quick. So there are a handful of drivers that are in that championship sort of, or at least doing the events, at least, even if they're not registered for points.
But I thought it was a bit interesting, actually, that Sam chose to go to Ireland. He went and competed in the Irish Tarmac Championship at Ulster this weekend, rather than the BRC at the Grampian, which is a bit of a shame because you say Sam's a good character, especially as the content he puts out himself as well is good for the championship. But no, he's done a full campaign over in Ireland and chose that.
Yeah, I can understand why, to be fair. I mean, having interviewed John Coyne and a fair few of the Irish drivers and crews as well, it's a totally different culture over there. It's very pro-rallying. It's very supported, not just by the rallying community, but the Irish community as a whole. So I'm not surprised that he's chosen to focus his efforts over there. And the roads are great as well.
And he's doing well. I mean, he got himself fifth place in the Ulster Rally at the weekend. That was won by Josh Moffat. But a good performance and nice to see a British driver go over there and do well.
Yeah, it is. Of the crews that we've got, who do you think's likely to take it? I think it's got to be Osian, hasn't it?
I think so. My heart would love Max McRae to become the British champion because in reality, I think Max has got to step up probably to European level next year. Yeah. He's going to continue his development. But no, I think Osian's going to be the class of the field this year and take it.
Yeah, I do too. I don't think there's much in the way of competition for him, to be fair.
So we've still got, obviously, Rally Ceredigion to come as part of the ERC and then the Cambrian Rally to end the year. So there's still a couple of events. It'd be nice if there could be a bit of wider motorsport support and interest for the BRC, but it might just be you and I.
Yeah, hopefully in time. Right, thank you very much, mate. We'll see you again soon.
Thanks very much.